This video uses historical air war events from the book A History of the Mediterranean Air War by Christopher Shores and Giovani Massimello, along with RAF operations records. It's intended to give an idea of what air combat was like in North Africa based on the morning of the 16th of July, 1942. Voices in the video are based on pilot interviews in the book. With the Afrika Korps advancing towards El Alamein, the three Gruppen of JG-27 transitioned from airfield to airfield, going eastward along the coast. The first Gruppe had been at Torbia, Egypt, for only the past 9 days. Werner Schreuer of the third Gruppe describes what life was like in the desert.
It was difficult because of the heat, the flies, salt water, too few aircraft, no protection in open desert, and the numerical superiority of the enemy. Early warning, Freya and Kibitz was good. The old hand pilots were better shots. Some younger pilots, Stahlschmidt, von Leers and Remmer, were excellent. Because of the low number of aircraft, old hares flew more often. We flew Freya Jagd against enemy fighters.
Jochen Marseille had established himself as the leading desert ace with 100 victory claims awarded by June 17th. He was on a 2-month leave in Germany to accept the Knight's Cross with oak leaves and swords. He didn't return until the 23rd of August. In his absence, Stahlschmidt had the highest rate of scoring for the first Gruppe during July. From James Stocky Edwards, who flew Kitty Hawks.
We leapfrogged airfields to keep up with troop advances. We levelled the desert for runways. The airstrip was obvious. The desert showed no signs of life. The original airfields were built along the coast. Bombers would form up over their own field, then fly over the escort's field at 2,000 to 3,000 feet. When the bombers were seen, all engines were started up.
From Friedrich Körner of the second Staffel of JG-27.
Ju-87s were used for Tobruk harbor, convoys, and frontline close air support. The Ju-87s needed escorts. They were scattered over a wide area after a dive, so were hard to protect.
German pilots dwelt in tents like the older ground crew. That fostered comradeship as there was no special treatment for the pilots. German pilots were respectful and sympathetic to British pilots. Many could speak English better than any other foreign language.
There was a discrepancy between German pilot victories due to strong individualists. Newcomers had a hard time. Germans flew mostly Freya Jagds with 1 Schwarm and on rare occasions with 2 Schwarma and a covering rod tie. Rare because there weren't enough aircraft.
Enemy troop concentrations were seen along coastal roads. Navigation direction was by sun and shadow. From June to November 1942, Allied supply lines were short with Cairo and Alexandria nearby.
From Rudolf Zinner, Staffelkapitän of 6th Staffel, JG-27.
Experts did well, wingmen not so much. Surprise attacks were made sparrow-like. No dogfights. Rarely were there more than 6 to 8 109s in the air at a time.
Often we met groups of 20 to 30 British fighters, whirling about in a confused fashion. When attacked, they formed 1 to 3 defensive circles, but generally lost 1 aircraft before they could form these. The Germans broke into pairs at the start of combat.
From 127 Squadron Operations reports, 8 Hurricanes led by Flight Lieutenant Marples were again scrambled to patrol the forward area Alamein box as top covered a number 80 squadron. From John Waddy, an Australian who flew Tomahawks, Kittyhawks, and Spitfires.
We looked up to find 109s. I did not on many occasions meet up with the Marquis. We saw mainly 109s and Ju-87s.
The British tactics were weaving and defensive circles. The Germans dive and climb.
Continuing with 127 Squadron's report, on reaching the patrol line, 8 plus Me-109Fs were sighted, 2,000 to 3,000 feet above and in the sun. The enemy aircraft made persistent diving attacks in pairs on our formation.
The British introduced the defensive circle during Tobruk convoy attacks with no high cover. Marseille would dive down near a circle, pull up and zoom into it from below, just before stalling, shooting down a Tommy, then spin to sea level, where he pulled up at the last second. This was repeated until the circle broke up. We spent most of our time trying to attack the circle, then the bombers were gone. I learned to attack RAF defensive circles from Marseille. Wingtip waving goodbye was fairy tales.
I never experienced German fighters being pursued after breaking away.
Flying Officer Grot, the first attacked, carried out evasive actions and became detached from our formation. He was then ordered home. Flight Sergeant Benedict at the rear of the defensive circle was the next quarry to be picked out by 2 109Fs. He pulled up, but his machine was hit. Lieutenant Gray's aircraft was also damaged in the same attack. From shores, 8 Bf-109s, the first group of JG-27, on Stuka escort, reported combat with 20 fighter bombers and Hurricanes. Lieutenant Stolschmidt claiming one of the latter, and a second damaged. Benedict bailed out, burnt on arms and legs.
Two, 4 or 6 109s would attack 12 to 20 RAF fighters. In the desert, if 2 German pilots shot at an aircraft and both saw an aircraft burning on the desert floor, both claimed it. During bombing attacks, Ju-87s and 88s would break formation, then fly line abreast in a 1 kilometer wide line. That made them easy targets, too scattered for German fighters to protect them.
Whole battles were engulfed in dust and haze up to 12,000 feet.
Medium bombers almost always had escorts. The Germans fought the escorts.
RAF bombers held tight formations with concentrated fire.
We didn't like bomber tail gunners.
from Neville Duke, who flew Kitty Hawks.
We didn't see large numbers of Ju-88s. Only 3s and 4s. Lots of Ju-87s. It was nearly always clear. Blue sky and bright sunshine.
On the 14th of July, Rommel rushed German troops to the Ruisat Ridge, which was under attack. General-Lieutenant Walter Neering launched a counterattack. The 5th Indian Infantry Brigade pushed them back. When the attack resumed late in the afternoon of the 16th, it was repulsed. After the battle, the Indians counted 24 knocked-out tanks, as well as armored cars and numerous anti-tank guns left on the battlefield. A dozen Hurricanes of 213 Squadron took off on a sweep. A dozen more from 33 Squadron were supposed to provide top cover, together with 4 Spitfires of 601 Squadron. Number 33, 601, and 213 Squadrons were on the same airfield, Landing Ground 154, southwest of Alexandria, along with 145 and 238 Squadrons. That's maybe 60 aircraft compared to the 23 that the first group of JG-27 had on their airfield. The RAF outnumbered the Germans in terms of aircraft. From John Edwards,
Top cover took off first, 12 aircraft line abreast. Then medium cover took off from their dispersal, then close cover squadron. We landed quickly to avoid 109 attacks with our gear down. Eventually there were 3 Spitfire squadrons, making the 109s look up for the first time.
During formation, P-40 takeoff, our windscreens were covered in sand.
"109Fs replaced the 109Es in the desert at the end of 1941. The 109F could fly higher than the Hurricanes and the P-40s, which assumed the top cover role, although Hurricanes were providing top cover for other Hurricane squadrons. Four Spitfires took off to give top cover to 33 and 213 squadrons. On taking off, 33 Squadron took off crosswind and collided with the Spitfire of this unit, 601 Squadron, piloted by Sergeant DePercio. From the 213 Squadron summary of events, just as 33 Squadron was taking off at 11:10, a Spitfire ran right across their path and collided with a Hurricane. Presumably for this reason, both formations were recalled and ours went out without top cover of any kind. Both pilots were killed, and the plane of this unit, 601 Squadron, was burned out. From 213 Squadron, there was no top cover of any kind. Consequently, the 12 aircraft of 213 Squadron were bounced by one MC-202 and one Bf-109. Luftwaffe pilots in constant action for 18 months had built up considerable skills and confidence. From shores, RAF pilots were inadequately trained, inexperienced, and provided with aircraft of inferior performance. They posed little threat and were easy pickings for their Axis opponents. From 213 Squadron, we were jumped by one Maquis 202 and an Me-109. Sergeant Ballantyne did not return, and an Me-109 was seen sitting right on his tail and firing at him from dead astern until he went in. From op records, 274 Squadron, 11:10 to 12:15. Weather, 1/10 cumulus cloud over the sea at 2,000 feet. Visibility poor, hazy. The squadron, consisting of 8 bombers and 4 fighters, were airborne at 11:10. The target was a fair amount of enemy MT at passage point 864280. it's hard to read, 2/5 of a mile west of our track. Squadron came in on target from the north at 7,500 feet and bombed from 3,000 feet. At least 6 direct hits were scored, one causing a violent explosion, and 8 near misses. A box of intense Breda at 3,000 to 4,000 feet was put up by the enemy, and also some heavy at 7,000 feet. When leaving the target, sounds like after just one pass from north to south at 3,500 feet, one of our aircraft was seen to be on fire and crashed at PP 870281 approximately. The pilot, Sergeant Preslin, was not seen to bail out. A second machine was seen to be streaming glycol and landed approximately 6 miles west of PP 870281. Sergeant Harrington, the pilot, was seen to get out and run away from his machine. It was later learned that he walked back to our lines. Our casualties, Sergeant Preslin, missing, presumed killed. 2 aircraft, Category 3, and destroyed.
We converted from Hurricanes to Kitty Hawks on the 1st of February 1942. We started flying Finger 4 formations on the 16th of February 42. Early P-40 versions were unstable and difficult to fly. Our Kitty Hawks carried 500-pound bombs during escort and dropped them before going home.
The Tomahawk was heavy and not manoeuvrable, slow climbing. The Tomahawk had 2 50s in the nose and 4 303s in the wing. The Kitty Hawk had 6 50s. Sometimes 2 were removed to save weight. The Kitty Hawk could catch up to a 109 in a sustained dive.
From Massimello, according to Italian records, 11 MC-202s of the 10th Gruppo, led by Capitano Franco Lucchini, took off from Fuka Sud, Egypt, at 10:35 to escort CR-42s. With their mission carried out, they intercepted 10 hurry bombers over Deir el Katara, 38 kilometers southwest of El Alamein, flying at 1,500 feet, covered by 10 P-40s at 6,000 feet, 15 P-40s at 16,000 feet, and 6 Spitfires at 20,000 feet. A 20-minute running fight followed, during which the Italian pilots claimed 4 P-40s shot down. In a possibly unrelated event that took place in the same area and same time, from operations records, 11:45 to 12:40, and there might be a 1-hour time difference between Allied and Axis time zones, bombing El Alamein, interception by MC-202s, bombs jettisoned, 8 aircraft sent to bomb at 875-277. The bottom 4 were jumped by 4 202s, but gave a good account of ourselves. Pilot Officer Taylor turned promptly and got in a squirt, and as the 202s dived below our bottom 4, one was hotly pursued by Flight Lieutenant Marshal, Sergeant Cormack, and Sergeant Cairns. Then as Sergeant Cairns gained height, he saw another 202 above, gave him a short burst, and saw a tracer enter the enemy aircraft near the radiator. It continued, without evasive action, in a shallow dive. is believed to have hit the ground where a fire was seen and is claimed destroyed. Sergeant Cairns was attacked again 5 miles east of the bomb line. Pilot Officer Collier was attacked and shot up.
Sometimes the better 109 pilots would turn with us. The Italian pilots were more inclined to engage in dogfights. They had more maneuverable aircraft.
Flight Lieutenant Marshall especially pumped lead into him, but without result. He claims his guns were improperly harmonized.
The Italians couldn't communicate with each other, so they were easier to bounce.
The Marquis flew higher and were sometimes confused with Spitfires.
I was not impressed by the Italians.
From Massimello, Lucchini's aircraft was hit and he crash-landed near Cotafia but managed to return to Fuca in the afternoon in a car. Baroni was hit and forced to land near El Daba. Berti and Bignani returned with slight damage to their Marquis. 4 of the Italian pilots, including Lucchini, shared a claim for one P-40, and 5 others, including Baroni, shared a claim for a second. I was hoping to see and hear some gunfire from the various Hurricane models, but that didn't fit the storyline. Here they are anyway. The Mark IIB, the Mark IIC, and the Mark IID Tank Buster. That's it for the desert life.